Freeport, Michigan, southeast of Grand Rapids, may be a small village population-wise, but certainly is not when it comes to history. One beautiful summer day, Michigan Magazine visited the village of Freeport and talked with Ken Van Tol. We have traveled to different places in the state, and this is just another one of these beautiful, unusual stories. This is about the Cheesebourough Rake Company, and we are here at Freeport, Michigan, and with me is Ken Van Tol, and Ken Van Tol is a new proprietor of this Michigan State landmark, I guess you'd call it. It's in the archives, correct?
Right, it's historical.
It is historical because it's what, 100 and some...
1876 it was moved here. The last information that I got researching it, it started around 1865 near Dutton and Caledonia. And then they moved it here in 1876. Yeah. Joe bought it. He wanted to be out in the middle of the woods so you didn't have to pay to have timber hauled.
Okay. What we're talking about today, folks, are rakes, wooden rakes. This plant right here is probably the only existing manufacturing plant in the United States that manufactures wooden rakes. And the products are right from the area here, the wood.
Right. It's the only existing all-wood manufacturer.
All-wood manufacturer.
Right, that's right. We're the original plant. We're the only ones that we know that are in the original facility manufacturing the original product yet that was made when America was settled. They had a great part in providing rakes for clearing the land around here.
Is that right? And from what I've read, also a lot of the business, the peak business was back in the 1800s to 1910 or somewhere in that area, when a lot of the shipment was overseas to Russia and Germany and so on. These rakes?
Over half the production at that point was going to Russia, England, Ireland, France were the four major customers. There were more, but there's invoices upstairs where there's an order for 6 boxcar loads to go to Paris.
Is that right?
Yeah. Right.
And what was I reading also, that the best production, or they were manufacturing, what, 180,000 of these a year?
Yes, they made a lot of other things too, wooden specialties, wooden farm tools, but these were the main product, and I think that peak production, 180,000 a year in the early turn of the century, previous to World War I. Right.
Well, now let's get to the meat and potatoes of this thing and find out how Ken Van Tol got interested in this antique, this historical place.
Well, it's just interesting for anyone, and I happen to be the one in the right place at the right time, really, Dale. And the owner wanted to retire, and he gave me the opportunity to get involved in it, which I'm just thankful for, because it's a thrill. How many people can have an opportunity to be into something or to be involved in something so historical and so original?
Yes.
And so I'm just thrilled
and
that
be on your own to do it.
Right. I'm thrilled that he gave me the opportunity to be involved in it. So we're having a good time with the plant.
And with the plant, you've the gentleman you've got here to work here, it's 5 generations. Is that what I'm told?
Great-great-grandfather Freeman helped build it in 1876, and since then a fish has always been involved. Right now the 5th generation is working here. Reuben, who's 71, has been on the payroll since 1941 and worked here before that, of course, as a kid. And so he runs the plant and really has a lot of knowledge and has a good memory of earlier things and a very good working grasp of all the old ways. Yeah. He does everything the old way, he and his boys.
And most of the tools and the lathes and so on are of the period of 1870s and 1900s, early 1900s.
Yes, if Job Cheesebourough came back, he could go right to work. Because he built a lot of the machines that we'll see were built by him and his men. They're wooden machines with wooden bearings or Babbitt bearings, and they work very well still. So here's Reuben Fish, still working here at 71 years old, and he's got 2 of his sons here that you employ as well. Brent and Reuben.
Okay.
Right, that's right.
And at one time, this place, I read, was what? The employees were what, 80 or 30 some employees?
No, I think at peak production, probably 30 employees, yes. And they had their own logging crews, they had their own hauling crews, teams of horses. We had a sawmill, the whole works. It took care of itself. It didn't need any electricity. It generated its own electricity, its own gas, its own power in all ways, and it was kind of a little city.
In its own.
In its own, right.
Yeah. So it generated its own electricity, so it was self-sufficient to heat generated what? The boilers?
Well, the electricity was generated basically for lighting. The boilers provided the power for the steam engines. There were 4 steam engines in the plant, and they provided the power to operate the mill. Okay. And we're working on getting those back now to restore the mill.
I also see here that you're not trying to the restoration of it. You want to leave it intact like it is, try to preserve it like it is, and not modernize it.
Right, right.
Can you tell us a little bit about
the value of it? When I walked into it originally, it was like taking a step back in time. It's a working museum. It's just so unusual because it has machines that typically are found in a museum, but here they have dust around them and sawdust and chips and wood chips, and they're working. And so I don't want to lose the smell, just the feeling, because you literally step back in time when you come into the plant. You certainly do. That is for sure. I can testify to that. And you have tours here for school groups and so on to come through here? We've just started this April touring it, and so people are having a pretty thrilling time coming through, finding a new treasure, so to speak. They can hardly believe that it's still operating in its original
in our own backyard, right here in Michigan.
Yes, right in Michigan, in a little town of Freeport, which is kind of in the backwoods of Michigan, I guess you would call it. Downstairs where the boiler's at, where the logs underneath here, we were looking at that. Can you tell us, now these timbers are huge. Correct. And they must be what, 40, 50 years old themselves. So this, when they were put up I would imagine, right. The plant was moved here in 1876, and so and then it was rebuilt, and from the end of the Civil War, 1865, if it started then, that was the year the Civil War ended, and 1876, of course, was the year of Custer's last stand, and the year Colorado became a state. And so the timbers were probably started growing in 1800, I would imagine. And they're pegged too. Yes, they're pegged. Right. It's built the old way. It's very good foundation. If we get down in there, the foundation is straight and true. It's very, very stable yet. Why would a person, other than when you look at a rake like this today, you say, well, that belongs on a wall, or that's an antique. What would be the practical use today of a rake like this? Right, that rake with a wooden bowl probably doesn't have a lot of practical use. It has more, it looks better hanging on a wall. And it's still, it's made the same as it was back then, and that one is a cheese rake, a curd rake. Also, because of the teeth spacing, we also made a 3-bowl lawn rake, which was used back then, and we still have people that like to have a wooden bowl lawn rake, and they use them. They aren't as durable as a wooden or a steel bowl, because the steel bowl can take a little more abuse. Now, this is the original way this was built back then, or made back then? This rake's been made like this since 1880. Since 1880. Right. And today is very practical use, and if you break one of these teeth off, you can replace it with a peg. With another tooth. Right. There's shrunk fit in there. There's no glue or nails. Everything is built the old way. And so if a tooth breaks off, and they do, you get it caught on a root. You pound it out and pound another one in, and you're back in business. We have men that come in every year and buy a couple of teeth. They have rakes that belong to their fathers and grandfathers, because if you don't ride over them with your truck, it'll be a lifetime companion. They're very durable. Have you used these in your I have. I've been using them since I moved into Freeport a number of years back, and they're just an effortless rake to use. And really, light. They're very light. What kind of wood do you use? Has kept them. Well, this handle is ash. This handle is ash. The heads are ash. The teeth are hard maple. It's all in Michigan hardwood. All Michigan hardwood. Right. And right here in Michigan. Right. We buy the wood right next door at the lumberyard. The rake is used by men to make a living. That we still are in existence because people use this rake to make their living. Golf courses, country clubs, landscapers, and they like it because it has a very effortless design. And it's durable. It's durable, very durable, and even though some people say, oh, a wooden tool, I wouldn't want one. The years we've been in business attest to the fact that it is very durable.